Chapter 1307. You're scaring me again. Although the young man said so, he still subconsciously looked over and was immediately dumbfounded. In front of him, a blue-robed youngster was standing on the white beach. His face was somewhat indistinct under the illumination of the sun. The ebb and flow of seawater had soaked his trousers, making him look a bit more real. The young man seemed to vaguely see a trace of a smile at the corner of the blue-robed youngster's mouth. After confirming that it was her big brother, Yi Xiaoxiao did not have the slightest demeanor of a virtuous lady. She directly pounced over and hugged Yi Chen. Since childhood, she and her second brother had worshipped their big brother the most. However, the time they spent together was too little. Every time they met, she especially treasured it, because she knew when they would meet again. Xiaoxiao, it's been 100 years. You finally found a partner. Before going to Black Wind Stream, Yi Chen hadn't heard that his little sister had found a partner. He hadn't expected to receive such a pleasant surprise. In fact, Yi Xian and Yi Xiaoxiao's talents were limited. Cultivating to life and death realm was not difficult, but cultivating to the 7th layer was extremely difficult. Therefore, it was time for them to find a partner. Not only his little sister, but Yi Chen's 4 disciples had also reached the limit of their potential. If they wanted to continue advancing, they could only rely on the accumulation of time. Big brother, let me introduce you. He's Wei Yanfeng. Yi Xiaoxiao's face reddened as she glared at Wei Yanfeng. Why aren't you greeting big brother? Big brother. Wei Yanfeng reacted and promptly called out with excitement and apprehension in his eyes. Yi Chen nodded with a smile and asked about the other party. Through their conversation, Yi Chen learned that Wei Yanfeng's family was also a big family. In the family's history, there had been several 8th-layer life and death heavenly monarchs. The current patriarch of Wei Yanfeng family was called Wei Yentong, a 7th-layer life and death realm expert. Not many people in the Yi family knew that Yi Chen had come to Waterbird Planet. At his level, there were not many people who could be close to him. Apart from his closest relatives, everyone else would be extremely nervous when they saw him, afraid that they would say the wrong thing. It was better not to see him. Therefore, in the entire Yi family, only his parents and younger siblings knew that he had returned. As for the disciples, they were all in the Fallout Sword sect and not in the Yi family. Although Yi Chen did not plan to meet with the others, he still used his soul force to scan the Yi family. In the entire Yi family, everyone older than Yi Chen, apart from his parents, had basically died. There was nothing that could be done about it. Under life and death realm, the lifespan of a martial artist was 500 years. Even if they obtained some treasures, they could at most increase their lifespan by a bit. Moreover, the longer one lived, the worse the effect would be. Originally, Yi Chen's parents had already reached the end of their lifespan. However, the 2 life and death fruits had allowed them to become life and death kings, increasing their lifespan to 100,000 years. For ordinary martial artists, 100,000 years was a long time, and 700 years was but a blink of an eye. None of Yi Chen's cousins of the same generation had died. With sufficient resources and decent innate talents, they had all become life and death kings in a few hundred years. Of course, they could not maintain their youthful appearance like Yi Chen. They were all middle-aged. Yi Xian, who could be considered the #1 beauty of the Yi family, had also become a middle-aged woman, causing Yi Chen to sigh endlessly at the passage of time. When he was young, Yi Hai, who had a good relationship with Yi Chen, was currently teaching his great-grandson a lesson. You little bastard, if you don't work hard now, you will die in front of me in 500 years. Hearing this, Yi Chen could not help but laugh. This Yi Hai. The 3 training bases of the Yi family were also in Yi Chen's eyes. The 3 training bases only trained disciples at the mortal realm. If they could reach the condensing reality realm within a certain period of time, they would be sent to the Fallen Dust Sword Martial School for training. In the Fallen Dust Sword Martial School, the Yi family was the biggest power. However, it was not a one-man rule. This was also ordered by Yi Chen to prevent the disciples of the Yi family from being too domineering. There were a lot of disciples of the Yi family in the 3 training bases. Every year, a batch of disciples would leave, and a new batch would come. Among them, there were not many direct disciples. A lot of them were the descendants of the guest warriors, and most of them were the descendants of the servants. In the Yi family, no matter how low the status was, as long as the descendants were capable, they could still bring honor to their ancestors and have their own territory. The Yi family was like a huge tree, with branches growing out from the trunk. After 700 years, the total population had reached 10 million. Of course, the real Yi family members were actually very few, only a few tens of thousands of people. Among them, the direct descendants of Yi Chen's parents were the least, and there were only a few of them. People like Yi Hai and the rest of them had been reproducing for God knows how many generations. 10 million is still not a lot. The ones who are truly of the Yi family's bloodline are only a few tens of thousands. Regarding the Yi family's population of 10 million, Yi Chen was not surprised. How many people in the imperial palace were of the royal bloodline? Most of them were not of the royal bloodline, but were only there to serve the royal bloodline. However, as time passed, the Yi family would become more and more complicated, and the number of people with the Yi family's bloodline would also increase. When the forest was big, there would be more and more people who liked to enjoy life. And the speed of those who liked to enjoy life was extremely frightening. They could easily take in dozens of wives and concubines. This was something that Yi Chen could not control, and could only let nature take its course. Compared to the Yi family, the fallen Dust Sword Martial School was even more frightening. Its population actually reached several hundred million. It was said that this was under the condition that they were trying their best to restrain themselves. Otherwise, the number of disciples and life and death kings who wanted to join the fallen Dust Sword Martial School would be uncountable. After staying on the Waterbird Star for a while, Yi Chen returned to the 9 Revolution Star Sky Continent. So many treasured swords, it should be enough. As a sovereign, it was too easy for him to obtain a large number of treasured swords. There was a star in the sky above the Sky Continent that was filled with treasured swords, ranging from low-grade to royal-grade treasured swords. There were hundreds of millions of treasured swords. Although the sword essence of low-grade treasured swords was small, there were many of them. On this star, more than 90% of the swords were low-grade treasured swords. Taking a deep breath, 5 sword patterns flashed on Yi Chen's body. With the appearance of the sword patterns, a majestic suction force was born. In the next moment, hundreds of millions of sword shadows were projected towards Yi Chen. With so many sword essences entering his body, Yi Chen could not help but moan. It was too wonderful. It was as if he had become a peerless treasured sword, and the sword essences were nourishment, tempering the peerless treasured sword. With a sword hum, another sword pattern appeared on Yi Chen's body. He had reached the 6th level of the immortal sword body. In the beginning, the 6th sword pattern was very light and faint. As time passed, the color of the sword pattern became darker and darker. Only when it was the same as the previous 5 sword patterns did it stop changing. Opening his eyes, Yi Chen smiled helplessly. The immortal sword body consumed too many treasured swords. So many treasured swords could only help him increase by 1 level. However, it was understandable. The 6th level of the immortal sword body could already withstand the attack of a 6th grade supreme battle puppet, which was a top-notch supreme attack. So, the demand for sword essences was definitely high. Next, if he wanted to break through to the 7th level of the immortal sword body, low-grade treasured swords would no longer be useful. Unless the number of swords reached billions, or even tens of billions, there would not be much of an effect. Yi Chen had a premonition that once he reached the 9th level of the immortal sword body, not even royal-grade treasured swords would have any effect. He would only be able to use supreme treasured swords. Chapter 1308. A gust of wind blew past, and the countless swords that had been stripped of their sword essences instantly decayed and disappeared with the wind. Losing sword essences was akin to losing one's spirit, chi, and soul. Immortal sword body's rapid advancement was directly related to the absorption of countless sword essences. Otherwise, even if Yi Chen's body could endure the advancement, he would at most reach the 5th layer. I wonder if I can break through to the 7th layer. Yi Chen felt that his body had yet to reach its limit. Immortal sword soul, sword yuan, blood chi, and immortal sword body's routes simultaneously exerted force, transforming Yi Chen's body in an extremely mysterious manner. Clang, clang, clang. Yi Chen's body emitted a series of rumbling sounds. His blood flowed like 10,000 swords, his muscles rubbed like two mountains colliding, and his heart beat like an earthquake. If an ordinary seventh-layer life and death monarch were close, they would have likely vomited blood and died. The immortal sword body had forged Yi Chen into a divine sword. The space-time faintly trembled as the seventh sword pattern appeared on Yi Chen's body. This sword pattern was extremely faint and would be hard to notice without careful observation. Gotcha! All of a sudden, the small star below him shattered into thousands of pieces. It couldn't bear the immortal sword body's aura and shattered into pieces without any warning. As time passed, the seventh sword pattern became increasingly profound. Eventually, just like the previous six, it imprinted itself on Yi Chen's body like a brand. Peak of the seventh layer, there's no way out. The peak of the seventh layer of immortal sword body had exhausted Yi Chen's understanding of his own body. Sometimes, knowledge was useless if it couldn't be put into practice. Yi Chen's understanding of the human body couldn't compare to Golden Buddha Supreme. After all, Golden Buddha Supreme had lived for hundreds of thousands of years. How could he compare? I don't know what level my fighting strength has reached, but I'm confident that apart from True Martial Supreme and Sky Demon Supreme, I won't have to fear anyone. Even if I can't beat them, I won't have to worry about my life. Yi Chen was very confident in himself. In terms of offense, he could already fight against a Grade 8 Supreme Battle Puppet, which was equivalent to a mid-level Supreme Expert. After so many years of seeing and hearing, Yi Chen roughly knew the levels of Supreme Experts. For example, the True Martial Supreme and the Heavenly Demon Venerable belonged to the first level, which was a high-level Supreme Expert. Of course, the two of them had Saint artifacts, so their real strength was estimated to be at the Legend Realm. As for the Golden Buddha Supreme and the Earth Demon Venerable, they were mid-level Supreme Experts, which was equivalent to Yi Chen. Even if Yi Chen was weaker, it wouldn't be by much. In terms of defense, Yi Chen had the Immortal Sword Body. The peak of the 7th level of the Immortal Sword Body allowed him to resist the attack of a Grade 7 Supreme Battle Puppet, which was the attack of a low-level Supreme Expert. Although it couldn't compare to the Golden Buddha Supreme, it shouldn't be any weaker than the Earth Demon Venerable. In this case, even if Yi Chen was unprepared and was hit by the Earth Demon Venerable, it wouldn't be fatal. At most, he would be injured. As for Sword Intent and Sword Domain, Yi Chen wasn't bad either. Yi Chen's Sword Intent was at the peak of the 8th level, and Yi Chen's Sword Domain had also reached the peak of the 8th level. Currently, in the universe, there were only a few people who had reached the 9th level. Even the Heavenly Demon Venerable and the True Martial Supreme hadn't reached it. Perhaps only some hidden old antiques had such a domain. Perhaps in terms of sword art, Yi Chen was slightly lacking. A powerful sword art could only be honed through bloody battles. Yi Chen had only experienced the battle between Supreme Experts twice. One was the battle with the projection of the Demon River Supreme, and the other was the battle with the flawless Demon Venerable. Of course, Yi Chen wouldn't be arrogant. The Golden Buddha Supreme's 9th transformation golden body was so powerful, but he was still injured by a divine artifact and almost died. His immortal sword body was still a bit weak. If he encountered the Heavenly Demon Venerable, he could only run for his life. But no matter what, the current him already had the ability to move unhindered in the universe. Of course, Yi Chen wouldn't be arrogant. The Golden Buddha Supreme's 9th transformation golden body was so powerful, but he was still injured by a divine artifact and almost died. His immortal sword body was still a bit weak. If he encountered the Heavenly Demon Venerable, he could only run for his life. But no matter what, the current him already had the ability to move unhindered in the universe. The demons have one more flawless Demon Venerable and one more corrupt Demon Venerable. I wonder if the Golden Buddha Supreme has recovered from his injuries. If he hasn't, the human race seems to be in danger. After estimating his own strength, Yi Chen began to estimate the strength of the human race. After estimating, Yi Chen felt that the human race was in danger. The war between humans and demons this time wasn't like the previous one. Last time, it was just a test. This time, it would probably be a real war. Both sides would reveal some of their trump cards. For example, flawless demon venerable appeared out of nowhere. Different situations call for different measures. The human clan has been able to fight against the demon clan for so many years. They won't be defeated so easily. Yichen thought. Ninth transformation star, Myriad Buddha continent. In the center of the continent, there was a Myriad Buddha mountain. There were a total of 10,000 Buddha statues. They were vivid and lifelike. On this day, the Myriad Buddha mountain shone with golden light like a rising sun. True Martial continent. Supreme True Martial's face flashed with joy. The golden Buddha finally came out of seclusion. These days, he had a premonition that the war was about to begin. The demons had 2 more fierce generals. The human race seemed to be lacking in confidence. Although Yichen was talented, he was still a little too young. He couldn't place all his bets on him. He trusted the golden Buddha the most. As long as it wasn't a divine weapon, the golden Buddha's 9 transformations golden body was enough to face anyone. Golden Buddha, have you recovered? Supreme True Martial sent a telepathic message with anticipation. I've used up so many treasures. If I don't recover soon, I don't know where I can hide my face. Supreme Golden Buddha replied with a smile. Good. It's good that you've recovered. See you in the Supreme Pavilion. As he spoke, Supreme True Martial's body flashed and he was directly teleported to the Supreme Pavilion. Not long after, Supreme Golden Buddha arrived. True Martial, long time no see. The Golden Buddha's Supreme Being smiled. Long time no see. Supreme True Martial observed him carefully. When he confirmed that Supreme Golden Buddha had indeed recovered, he began to tell him what had happened in the past few hundred years. What? A legendary Supreme's martial path Yuan Shen escaped from the Black Wind Stream? Supreme Golden Buddha's smile faded and his expression became solemn. Supreme True Martial nodded. Unblemished demon venerable, the human race has a way to stop him. But this corrupt demon venerable can't be stopped by anyone except me. Although your 9 transformations golden body is powerful, you can't fight against both Earth Demon Venerable and Corrupt Demon Venerable at the same time. I have to try. After so many years of seclusion, I feel that the 9 transformations golden body is about to advance, Supreme Golden Buddha said slowly. The 9 transformations golden body is about to advance. Supreme True Martial knew the power of the 9 transformations golden body. The 9 transformations golden body at the peak of the 8 transformations could ignore Earth Demon Venerable's attacks. If he and Sky Demon Venerable didn't have divine weapons, they wouldn't be able to break the 9 transformations golden body either. Once the 9 transformations golden body reached the 9 transformations, the effects would be indescribable. That's great. Supreme True Martial walked back and forth excitedly. He had been worried about this matter for the past few days. But now, it seemed that the situation wasn't that bad. Chapter 1309. Golden Buddha, there are still some days before the battle. During this time, I will order the other Supreme Masters to find treasures that can help you break through the 9th transformation golden body. Make a list for me. Although body tempering martial arts and supreme martial arts were both martial arts, there was still a clear difference in essence. Supreme martial arts could only be achieved through comprehension, but body tempering martial arts, in addition to comprehension, could also be used to speed up the breakthrough through treasures. Body tempering, as long as it could be tempered, it didn't matter what path it was. Supreme Master Golden Buddha thought about it and nodded. Okay. He knew that if he wanted to break through to the 9th transformation of the Golden Body 9 transformation on his own, it would take him hundreds of years, or even thousands of years. After all, it was just a sign of a breakthrough. If he could obtain some useful treasures, the process could be shortened 1,000 times. I need golden body fruit, the more the better. And 100 refining grass, spring of life, celestial demon fire spirit fruit, cold spring of heaven and earth. Supreme Master True Martial listened and frowned. These things were not easy to find. Tianshan continent. Yichen was walking with Murong Qingqing and Su Jing. The 3 of them were chatting about daily life or martial arts. The atmosphere was very harmonious. Suddenly Yichen stopped. "What's wrong, Yichen?" Murong Qingqing asked. "I need to go out for a while. Supreme Master True Martial has a task for me," replied Yichen. In the universe, Yichen shuttled through space and time like a sword, heading in a certain direction. Supreme Master True Martial has asked us to find these treasures. But it is related to whether Supreme Master Golden Buddha can break through the 9th transformation golden body and the future of the human clan. We must do our best to find them. Yichen didn't have any complaints about this kind of coercive order. He believed that the other supreme beings wouldn't have any complaints either. If the Golden Buddha Supreme was strong, the human race would be strong too. Everyone would prosper together, and everyone would suffer together. It was fine as long as they weren't constantly ordered. The supreme beings all loved freedom, and no one was willing to work themselves to death for others. The first place Yichen went to was the Supreme Secret Realm, the 100 Refining Secret Realm, which was near the Vermilion Bird Star Field. The 100 Refining Secret Realm had the most 100 refining grass, which was a kind of body-refining spirit herb. Consuming it could enhance one's physical strength and defense, just like refining the diamond. Of course, the 100 refining grass that the Supreme Golden Buddha needed was not an ordinary 100 refining grass, but 100 refining grass that was at least 50,000 years old. This kind of 100 refining grass was extremely rare. In the past million years, only 3 of them had been found in the 100 refining secret realm. After all, the 100 refining grass had a lifespan, and it was extremely difficult to live up to 50,000 years old. Yichen was now a supreme being, so his flying speed was extremely fast. In just half a day, Yichen arrived at the 100 refining secret realm. Grass was the most common thing in the 100 refining secret realm. These grasses were dozens of miles tall, and each of them looked like they were forged from steel. In fact, ordinary grasses in the 100 refining secret realm were sharper and harder than high-grade weapons. Unfortunately, they were too big, and they were plants. Once they left the ground, they would gradually wither. Flying in the steel grass forest, Yichen fully released his soul power and opened his netherworld Saint Eye. Not long after, Yichen found 100 refining grass. This 100 refining grass was not bad. It was nearly 10,000 years old and was about 50 meters tall. It was much shorter than the ordinary grasses in the 100 refining secret realm. Fortunately, Yichen was a supreme being, and he had the netherworld Saint Eye. Otherwise, it would not have been so easy to find it. The 100 refining secret realm was a supreme secret realm. It was very difficult to tear the space-time inside. Therefore, there was no possibility of space-time travel. Without space-time travel, Yichen could only rely on his speed to travel. In the blink of an eye, 1 week had passed. Yichen had found a total of 1,000 refining grass. One was 10,000 years old, and the other 9 were 8,000 years old, and the lowest was 3,000 years old. This 100 refining grass can be stored in the Yi family's treasury. Although Yichen had no use for the 100 refining grass, he still had to consider the Yi family. These 100 refining grass could make the Yi family's body refining king more powerful. Of course, other than Yichen's close relatives, if the other clansmen wanted to obtain treasures, they would need to have enough contribution points to the family. The family would not give you treasures for free. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Suddenly, a sharp buzzing sound was heard. It sounded like the buzzing of a bee's wings, but magnified by 1,000,000 times. 100 refining blade insect. Yichen did not need to look to know that the buzzing sound came from the 100 refining blade insect. The 100 refining blade insect was a terrifying creature similar to a praying mantis. Its arms were long blades, hard and sharp, not any weaker than a supreme saber. Its attacking power was also equivalent to a normal supreme, and the more powerful ones could even be compared to a powerful supreme. Its only weakness was that its defense was relatively low. Any supreme could easily kill it, provided that it could be hit directly. A blurry shadow appeared a few hundred miles in front of Yichen. The blurry shadow gradually became clearer. It was a 10 meters tall monster that looked like a praying mantis. Its whole body was emitting a cold light. The 100 refining blade insect was sizing up Yichen, and Yichen was also sizing it up. This was his first time seeing it. He had only heard of it before. Come. Yi Chen crooked his finger at the 100 refining blade insect. His immortal sword body had reached the peak of the 7th layer, and he had not fought it yet. It would be good to have an appetizer first. As if enraged by Yi Chen's contemptuous attitude, the 100 refining blade insect's wings fiercely flapped, and in a flash, it arrived in front of Yi Chen. Its sharp blade-like arms slashed at Yi Chen's chest, containing the distorted power of the 5 elements. Unfortunately, Yi Chen's immortal sword body was so powerful that the 100 refining blade insect's blade-like arms couldn't even break Yi Chen's skin, not even leaving a mark. Clink, clink, clink. The 100 refining blade insect did not believe it. With Yi Chen as the center, it shuttled back and forth. Every time it shuttled, it would erupt with thousands of slashes. A cold light surrounded Yi Chen. As the cold light dissipated, Yi Chen was unharmed. Die. After testing out the immortal sword body, Yi Chen pointed a sword finger at the 100 refining blade insect without any warning. This sword finger contained countless changes, and the 100 refining blade insect could not dodge at all. It was directly pierced by the sword chi. This pair of blade-like arms is not bad. After killing the 100 refining blade insect, Yi Chen harvested its blade-like arms. In the future, when he forged a supreme treasure sword, the blade-like arms could be used as an ordinary material. The 100 refining secret realm was huge. Very quickly, 3 months passed. Even though Yi Chen had the netherworld's sacred eye, which could scan the 100 refining secret realm without any blind spots, he only found a 45,000 years old 100 refining grass. During this time, Yi Chen met more than 100 refining blade insects, and the strongest one was not weaker than a powerful Jizun. Unfortunately, they met Yi Chen. 45,000 years old, it should be barely usable. With the extra time, I can go look for other treasures. Yi Chen was very concerned about this matter. He also planned to go to the Golden Creek secret realm. That was one of the big secret realms with golden body fruits. However, it was also a relatively dangerous Jizun secret realm. Even powerful Jizun would be in great danger if he went there. The other secret realms with golden body fruits were a bit better, but the probability of golden body fruits appearing was much lower. Chapter 1310. Golden River Secret Territory. Yi Chen floated above a mountain range. The mountains below him were all golden mountains. The plants on the mountains were also golden plants. Even the lakes and rivers in the mountains were golden liquid. As far as the eye could see, everything was golden, pure and flawless. His golden pupils scanned the surroundings. After a while, Yi Chen found a golden body fruit. With a flash of sword light, Yi Chen dashed towards the golden body fruit. The golden Buddha Supreme Being needed a large number of golden body fruits, the more the better. Currently, Yi Chen had already obtained 5. As he was passing by a golden lake, a huge golden hand suddenly reached out. This golden hand was thousands of li wide. There were spiral patterns on the palm, and in the middle of the spiral patterns was a small black hole. In the supreme secret territory, one couldn't tear time and space to travel. Just as Yi Chen was about to be grabbed by the golden hand, a majestic sword chi shot out and slashed at the golden hand. The golden hand was shaken a few hundred li away. Using this gap, Yi Chen escaped from the golden hand's range. Rumble! The golden lake shook, and a 10,000 li tall monster emerged. This was the Golden River Secret Territory's unique monster, the Golden River Monster. Its strength was at least at the supreme level. Moreover, it was invulnerable and had an extremely strong defense. Even a super supreme would have a hard time injuring it. Yi Chen didn't want to be entangled with it. After obtaining the golden body fruit, he flew away at full speed. In a short while, he disappeared without a trace. In terms of speed, the Golden River Monster was much slower than Yi Chen. The Golden River Monster's defense is too strong. Fortunately, its speed isn't that fast. It's only equivalent to an ordinary supreme. When he first came to the Golden River Secret Territory, Yi Chen had fought with the Golden River Monster. Although on the surface, Yi Chen had the absolute upper hand. However, even with his attack power, he couldn't injure the Golden River Monster. He could only leave sword marks on its body. The Golden River monster's body was huge. These sword marks probably couldn't even break its skin. Moreover, as time passed, the Golden River monster would recover. Yichen estimated that it wouldn't even take 3 to 5 months to determine the winner with one Golden River monster. 10, 15, 30. In half a year, Yichen found 30 golden body fruits in the Golden Creek Mystic Realm. Time to go back. Yichen believed that he had done his best. Supreme Pavilion. Quite a few Supreme Beings had already returned. Most of the Supreme Beings didn't leave, wishing to see how the others' harvests were. Supreme Langya, it seems like you've gained the most this time. One of the Supreme Martial Artists laughed. One of the Supremes beside him said, Supreme Zitherheart's harvest isn't bad either. It's almost on par with Supreme Langya's. As the saying goes, there is strength in numbers. The treasures that the Supreme Golden Buddha needed were basically all gathered. Among them, Supreme Langya's harvest was the most as he brought back 13 golden body fruits and a heaven and earth cold spring. Supreme Zitherheart was slightly behind him as she brought back 11 golden body fruits and a life spring. The other Supreme experts had much less. It was just luck. Supreme Langya smiled humbly. Supremacy Zitherheart was unconcerned. A month later, most of the Supreme Martial Artists had returned. Only 2 or 3 Supreme Martial Artists had yet to appear, and Yichen was one of them. What's going on? Why isn't Supreme Yi back yet? Don't tell me he's in danger. Nonsense. Supreme Yi is a powerful Supreme Martial Artist. Other than a few Supreme Secret Realms, ordinary Supreme Secret Realms wouldn't be a threat to him. I'm just saying. Supreme Bronze frowned as he listened to the discussions of the other Supreme Martial Artists. As a Supreme Martial Artist of the Dragon Clan, Supreme Bronze cultivated the physique like the Supreme Golden Buddha. In fact, his harvest was even greater than that of Supreme Langya's. However, these treasures were useful to him, so he kept some for himself. If the Golden Buddha didn't have enough treasures, it wouldn't be too late for him to contribute. He was very optimistic about Yichen. He had a feeling that the future of the human clan would be led by Yichen. 3 days later, Yichen returned. Supreme Yi is back. I knew it. With Supreme Yi's strength, he wouldn't be in danger so easily. He must have been too focused on finding treasures and forgot about the time. The Supreme Martial Artists heaved a sigh of relief when they saw Yichen's return. They were all in the same boat now. As a powerful Supreme Martial Artist, Yichen was definitely a valiant general of the human clan. They couldn't afford to lose him. Supreme Yi, how was your harvest? Take it out for everyone to see. Supreme Ice Phoenix, who had a good relationship with Yichen, smiled. All right. Yichen nodded and took out the treasures he found. So many golden body fruits and 100 refinement grass. It's almost 50,000 years old. Many Supreme Martial Artists were dumbfounded. Hee, Supreme Langya, Supreme Ye's harvest surpassed yours. It's a good thing. It'll be even better if everyone's harvest surpasses mine. Supreme Langya was surprised too, but he wasn't jealous. In terms of harvest, Yichen did surpass Supreme Langya by quite a bit. Yichen obtained 30 golden body fruits and a 45,000 years old 100 refinement grass. In terms of value, the 45,000 years old 100 refinement grass was no less valuable than the heaven and earth cold spring and the spring of life. Supreme Ye's luck is really good. They didn't think about his strength. To them, Yichen was at most close to Supreme Langya. Supreme True Martial and Supreme Golden Buddha came the next day. Supreme Golden Buddha expressed his gratitude to the Supreme Martial Artists. He and Supreme True Martial had been searching for treasures and had gained a lot. With the treasures in front of them, they could almost reach the 9th transformation of the Golden Body 9 transformation. Time flew. It had been 5 years since Supreme Golden Buddha went into seclusion again. Tianshan Continent, Tianshan Palace. Sword Domain and Sword Intent seem to have reached a bottleneck. Breaking through seems like a long way off. In terms of sword arts, I can't take another step. How can I increase my strength? Yichen was still not satisfied with his current strength. The stronger he was, the greater the hope of humanity contending against the demons. If I have a saint sword, I should be able to contend against Supreme Rotten Devil. Suddenly, a thought flashed in Yi Chen's mind. Saint Sword? Sky Sword? Was the true spirit continent Sky Sword the Saint Sword? Without a sound, Yi Chen disappeared from the palace. When he reappeared, he was already above the 9 transformation star. The space-time distorted as Yi Chen rushed toward Elysium. For Yi Chen, 1,000,000 light-years was nothing more than a few days of traveling. Following the entrance of Elysium, Yi Chen entered Elysium. Swish. In the sky above Sky Sword continent, Yi Chen slowly descended. In front of him was a huge rusty ancient sword. Rise. Boundless ocean-like sword energy boiled. Yi Chen suddenly enlarged, becoming even taller than the Sky Sword. He extended his right hand, grabbed the hilt, and forcefully pulled it out. For countless years, the Sky Sword, which no one had been able to move, was gradually pulled out. What's happening? Could it be an earthquake? Look, there's a giant pulling out the Sky Sword. What? Who can pull out the Sky Sword? The Sky Sword had already become the symbol of Sky Sword continent. Everyone had formed a habit that no one could pull out the Sky Sword. The scene before their eyes made their minds go blank. Chapter 1311. It's Sword Emperor Yi Chen. I've seen his image before. I've seen it too. Oh my God. Sword Emperor Yi Chen has descended. In Elysium, Emperor and Emperor were still the highest titles. Although Sea of Soul Realm experts already knew that Life and Death Realm had 9 layers, and that Emperor and Emperor were not the pinnacle, the others were too far away for them. Moreover, since ancient times, Elysium had always been the strongest emperor, such as Ancient Emperor and Qi Tiandi. As of now, Sword Emperor Yi Chen was no longer inferior to Ancient Emperor and Qi Tiandi. He was one of the strongest emperor in Elysium. Why did Sword Emperor Yi Chen pull out the Sky Sword? Could it be that the Sky Sword is a powerful sword? It should be. The Sky Sword Sword Qi covers the entire Sky Sword continent and fuses with the Yuan Qi of the world. It's certainly a powerful sword. Amidst the discussions of the people nearby, Yi Chen pulled out the Sky Sword with a clang. The boundless sword Qi seemed to have found a vent as it soared into the sky, shooting all the way to the starry sky outside Sky Beyond. It was like a bull charging into the sky, shooting to an unknown distance and creating an enormous destructive power. Good sword. With a thunderous voice, Yi Chen's eyes fixated on the Sky Sword. Compared to the brilliant God Sword, the Sky Sword was countless times more powerful. Just the sword Qi alone was not inferior to the aura emitted by a supreme expert, perhaps even superior. Holding the Sky Sword, Yi Chen felt his blood Qi and sword Yuan boil, producing a miraculous resonance and amplification. Let's refine it first. His soul power condensed into an imprint and branded on the Sky Sword. Buzz. The Sky Sword trembled and rapidly shrunk. Yi Chen's body also shrunk. In a few moments, the Sky Sword had shrunk to 12 meters long, matching Yi Chen's 15 meters height. It's damaged. After refining the Sky Sword, Yi Chen discovered that the Sky Sword source was damaged, as if it had been damaged by something. Who could damage the Saint Sword? Questions flashed through Yi Chen's mind. It seems that the heavenly sword falling into Elysium isn't as simple as the rumors say. There must be an inside story. Yi Chen didn't think too much about it. As far as he was concerned, a slightly damaged heavenly sword was still a saint sword. It was countless times more powerful and sharper than a supreme sword. It could push his strength to a whole new level. Wouldn't it be unfair to the swordsmen of the Sky Sword continent if we take away the Sky Sword? The Sky Sword was the sword of destiny of the Sky Sword continent. If it was taken away, the chances of the Sky Sword continent giving birth to a powerful swordsman would undoubtedly be greatly reduced. Some babies with astonishing potential were born with a strand of Sky Sword Sword Qi in their bodies. This strand of Sky Sword Sword Qi could make it easier for them to comprehend the Sword Dao. Forget it, I'll use the Huang Divine Sword instead. It was impossible for Yi Chen to give up on the Heaven Sword, so he could only give up on the Supreme Treasure Sword, the Brilliant Divine Sword. Although the Brilliant Divine Sword was a Supreme Treasure Sword, it couldn't be compared to the Heaven Sword. But it was better than nothing. Moreover, the supreme treasure sword was stained with his own sword Tao. He believed that it would be beneficial to the swordsmen of the Sky Sword continent. The brilliant divine sword grew bigger, becoming the same size as the heaven sword. Clang, the earth shook. The brilliant divine sword stabbed deeply into the ground, and a vast sword chi spread out. It wasn't over yet. Yi Chen operated the power of time and space and began to condense the sword realm. The so-called sword realm was actually a space of sword Tao. There were countless sword Tao comprehensions and countless sword techniques inside. As long as he sorted them out a little, coupled with the power of time and space, he could condense the sword realm. Condensing the sword realm was much more difficult. After spending a whole month, Yi Chen finally condensed the sword realm. After finishing all this, Yi Chen's figure flashed, and he arrived at the exit of Elysium. Then he disappeared at the exit. Sky Sword Continent. This sword isn't the Heaven Sword. I wonder what Sword Emperor's intention is? Regarding Yi Chen taking away the Heaven Sword, no one dared to have the slightest complaint. Of course, deep in their hearts, they more or less felt some regret. The Heaven Sword had helped them too much. A peak sea of Soul Realm expert approached the brilliant divine sword. He entered the brilliant divine sword. 2 hours later he came out. From then on, a piece of news spread. The new Heaven Sword also had a sword realm. Moreover, this sword realm was even more targeted than the original one. At the very least, many people had improved because of it. Entering the new sword realm was equivalent to receiving Sword Emperor Yi Chen's pointers. The matter of Yi Chen obtaining the Heaven Sword was only known to a few people, including Su Jing and Murong Qingqing. During this period of time, Yi Chen was comprehending the sword Tao of the Heaven Sword. As for the sword realm, it wasn't of much help to him. He didn't know how powerful the master of the Heaven Sword was back then, but he could tell that the sword Tao inside the sword realm was a bit rough. It didn't seem to come from the hands of a sword sovereign. I'm afraid the sword intent of the Heaven Sword's true master has already reached the 9th step. There was still a trace of sword intent left on the Heaven Sword. It was as thin as a gossamer and could disappear at any time. However, judging from the sword intent's level, it was already at the 9th step. The 9th step Yi Chen spoke of was not the ordinary 9th step sword intent, but the 9th step radiant sword intent. The radiant sword intent was the same as the immortal sword intent and destruction sword intent. They were all supreme sword intents. There were actually 5 supreme sword intents: immortal, destruction, radiant, darkness, and chaos. Regardless of which supreme sword intent it was, they were all extremely rare. It wasn't something that could be obtained just because one had great talent. One also needed to be compatible with the supreme sword intent. Yi Chen being able to match the immortal sword intent and destruction sword intent could be said to be the greatest miracle. From this aspect, Yi Chen being able to reach where he was today was inevitable. I wonder if I can comprehend the radiant sword intent. Yi Chen carefully comprehended this trace of radiant sword intent. Time flowed like water. In Yi Chen's soul ocean, a trace of light appeared. This light was extremely weak, like a candle flame that could be extinguished at any time. As this light appeared, Yi Chen's soul ocean started to surge. The immortal sword intent and destruction sword intent tried their best to suppress the soul ocean, preventing it from exploding. At that time, Yi Chen's soul ocean would really be destroyed, and there would be no way to save him. Yi Chen didn't know that his behavior was no different from courting death. He already had 2 supreme sword intents, and comprehending another one was like putting 10 times more water into a bottle. It would be strange if it didn't explode. However, Yi Chen already had 2 supreme sword intents, and these 2 sword intents complemented each other in an absolute balance. Once something happened, they would be the first to react. After all, if the soul ocean exploded, they would be dead as well. If Yi Chen only had the immortal sword intent and comprehending the radiant sword intent, he would definitely die, because the immortal sword intent and the radiant sword intent didn't complement each other. Of course, this was only a guess. When a person had the radiant sword intent, he might succeed in comprehending the darkness sword intent, or he might not succeed. Everything was unknown. Gradually, the light took shape. It was a sword spirit that shone with radiant light. The radiant sword spirit grew rapidly. Rank 1, Rank 2, Rank 3. It only stopped growing when it reached Rank 6. At this point, Yichen had 3 Supreme Sword Intents, Rank 8 Immortal Sword Intent, Rank 8 Destruction Sword Intent, and Rank 6 Radiant Sword Intent. Chapter 13:12. The moment the light sword spirit reached the 6th step, the light sword intent on the heavenly sword dissipated. Sometimes, the sword intent was also a sword artist's mark, more representative than a soul mark. Holding the heavenly sword, Yichen seemed to feel the heavenly sword's breath and emotions. There was no longer any barrier between the two, as if they were in perfect harmony. With the heavenly sword, even if I can't defeat Heavenly Master Corrupt Devil, I can at least put up a fight. If Sky Demon Venerable and True Martial Supreme were legendary supreme beings, then Heavenly Master Corrupt Devil could be counted as a quasi-legendary supreme being. Before, Yichen was not his opponent at all, but now, he had the confidence to fight. The atmosphere of war is getting thicker and thicker. Sheathing the heavenly sword, Yichen walked out of the palace and looked up at the sky. Ordinary people couldn't feel it, but as a supreme being, Yichen could clearly feel the pervasive atmosphere of war. Is the war about to begin? Su Jing and Murong Qingqing walked over. Yichen said slowly, "What will come will come. You two be careful." Su Jing and Murong Qingqing both wanted to participate in the war between humans and demons, as this was their chance to accumulate resources. A person's achievements depended on how much they had experienced. The reason why Yichen could become a supreme being was directly related to his rich experiences. In the universe, there were many people whose talents were not worse than Yichen's. Yichen's powerful comprehension was also a coincidence. However, in the universe, there was not a single person who could compare to Yichen. Windy Nation, South Rudra Region, True Spirit Continent, Elysium, and the universe. Yichen's short 700 years of life was already a legend. In every step, he was the absolute protagonist. Therefore, Yichen didn't plan to stop Su Jing and Murong Qingqing. People couldn't be too selfish. They couldn't stop other people's choices just because they were worried that they would be in danger. Of course, he would definitely protect them in secret. We missed the war between humans and demons last time, but we won't miss it this time. Don't worry, we're quite perceptive. Murong Qingqing was looking forward to the upcoming war. Black Tortoise Galaxy. Countless armies of demons, evil spirits, yakshas, and other evil races were gathered in the starry sky. The ones leading the armies were marshals. Their strength was not comparable to a quasi-venerable, but their ability to lead armies surpassed most quasi-venerables. Between a marshal and a quasi-venerable, one was the commander of the army, while the other was the trump card. However, what truly determined victory or defeat wasn't the army, the marshal, or the quasi-venerables, but the supreme paragons. A single paragon was equivalent to millions of armies. For a race without a paragon, no matter how many armies they had, no matter how many quasi-venerables they had, it wouldn't matter. The paragon was the true trump card, the pillar of support. Let's go! Following the commands of the marshals, the battleships started shuttling through the void, heading towards the White Tiger Galaxy. Supreme Pavilion. Supreme True Marshal looked at the Supremes with a solemn expression. Everyone, the war has begun. We lost the Black Tortoise Galaxy last time. This time, we can't lose the White Tiger Galaxy too. Losing the Black Tortoise Galaxy was already a huge blow to the human race. The 4 major galaxies had always been the human race's territory. Losing one was equivalent to losing a quarter of the resources. If they lost the White Tiger Galaxy too, then half of the resources would be gone. Supreme Lang Ya's killing intense sword. This time, they won't be able to take advantage of us. Supreme Thunderbolt, may be an ordinary Supremes, but if the demons want to take over the White Tiger Galaxy, they'll have to step over my dead body first. Supreme Thunderbolt was one of the ordinary Supremes of the human race. True Marshal, is the Golden Buddha still in seclusion? Supreme Bronze asked. Supreme True Marshal explained, the Golden Buddha is at a crucial moment. Don't disturb him for now. I believe that he will be able to break through to the 9th transformation golden body and rush over to join the battle. Before the golden Buddha went into seclusion, he told him that it would be best if he could break through. If not, he would rush over. Supreme True Marshal naturally hoped that the golden Buddha could break through. Otherwise, just the corrupt devil Heavenly Sovereign alone was enough to give them a headache. I see. Supreme Bronze said, I'm no match for the corrupt devil Heavenly Sovereign, but I can still hold off the flawless Archdevil Heavenly Sovereign for a while. Leave the flawless Archdevil Heavenly Sovereign to me. Supreme Bronze was one of the strongest Supremes of the human race. Even Supreme Langya was slightly inferior to him. He believed that he was the only one who could go against the flawless Archdevil Heavenly Sovereign. Even though the flawless Archdevil Heavenly Sovereign was a Supreme, Supreme Bronze was confident in his own defense. He believed that he could hold off the flawless Archdevil Heavenly Sovereign for a while if he gave it his all. All right. Supreme True Marshal knew that this was the only way. He turned his head and looked at Yichen. Yichen, you've just become a Supreme not too long ago. How strong are you now? Supreme True Marshal couldn't see through Yichen. Yichen said, I'm not a problem against the Earth Demon Venerable. In theory, Yichen was definitely stronger than the Earth Demon Venerable. However, Yichen didn't dare to be too confident. Who knew if the Earth Demon Venerable had a trump card? In terms of defense, he wasn't as strong as the Golden Buddha Supreme. Moreover, his attacks couldn't kill the Earth Demon Venerable in one go. What? Supreme Yi, you're not joking, right? The Earth Demon Venerable is a mid-level Supreme. Supreme Yi, is what you said true? The human race Supreme experts looked at Yichen suspiciously. It wasn't that they looked down on Yichen. It was just that what Yichen said was too ridiculous. Yichen, is what you said true? Supreme True Marshal stared at Yichen. Yichen nodded, definitely. All right, I'll leave the Earth Demon Venerable to you. Supreme True Marshal was hesitant. However, when he thought about the incident at the Black Wind Stream, he knew that since Yichen was able to survive, he must be stronger than a Supreme. Dang dang dang. Suddenly, the 9 Revolution Star rang with alarms. The alien race army had invaded the White Tiger starfield. The 10 military planets of the White Tiger starfield had long since been ready. Fleets were assembled in the starry sky. Last time, half of the Black Tortoise starfield was occupied by the alien races. This time, the White Tiger starfield was their territory, and they couldn't afford to lose. Many people that Yichen knew were present in the fleet. Duguju, Chu Zhongtian, Golden-Robed Emperor, Green-Robed Emperor, Dan Tai Mingyue, Yan Qingxian, Murong Qingqing, Su Jing, Jiu, Leng Fifan, and so on. Yichen's 3 disciples were also present, Yan Jianwei, Dong Fangbai, and Leng Xinghan. They didn't want to be under Yichen's protection for the rest of their lives. This war was an opportunity for them to temper themselves. If they could survive, they would have a chance to break through to the 8th layer of life and death realm. The white-haired Duguju stood on the bow of the black puppet battleship. Carrying a saber on his back, his gaze was as sharp as a blade. It had been many years since the Azura World Arena ended, and he had become even more powerful. Chapter 1313. The starry sky was like an ocean, deep and unfathomable. This was the border between the White Tiger starfield and Black Tortoise starfield. In all directions, it was a vast expanse of nothingness. There were no planets, no light, only asteroids that flowed like a river. These asteroids were affected by the gravitational pull of the 2 starfields, drifting left and right. Standing on these asteroids was no different than a drop of water in the vast ocean. Buzz. Suddenly, a large expanse of meteors were shattered by the distorted space-time energy, and then numerous puppet battleships appeared. In next to no time, the dense black mass of puppet battleships practically covered half the starry sky, causing this area of nothingness that was completely devoid of light to become even more oppressive and suffocating. These were the battleships of the Human Alliance. On the other side of the asteroids, the space-time distorted, and the battleships of the Demons Alliance also appeared. Kill! Without any words, the moment the 2 sides appeared, the battleships accelerated, blasting away the dense asteroids and rushing toward the other side. Along the way, countless beams of light shot out, red, yellow, and blue, incomparably dazzling. In the void of the starry sky, a frightening blade light shot out. A quasi-venerable wielded a blade and chopped down, instantly clearing a line of enemy battleships. Soldiers against soldiers, generals against generals. Soon, the battle reached its climax, with experts falling everywhere. As for the ordinary life and death realm soldiers, they were simply cannon fodder. Several hundred light-years away, several figures that were several tens of feet tall appeared. Among them, a 15-zhang tall figure gradually became clearer. It was Yi Chen. This was Yi Chen's first time participating in a supreme war. Unlike ordinary wars, the death rate would not be that high, but the impact would be 1,000 times greater. Sweeping his gaze over his own camp, Yi Chen faintly nodded. The human alliance had quite a lot of supremes, a total of 54. 18 from the human alliance, 12 from the giant tribe, 11 from the barbarian tribe, and 13 from the minor tribes attached to the human alliance. Individually, these minor tribes were not powerful, but together, they had 13 supremes, which was not a force to be reckoned with. It was believed that these 54 supreme masters were not the full strength of the human clan alliance. After all, every race would reserve some strength and would not reveal all of it unless it was a matter of life and death. For example, the disciples of the true Martial Supreme and the Golden Buddha Supreme, the Xuanhe Supreme and the Ananda Supreme, did not come. They were still patrolling the Black Windstream. In the Human Race Alliance, the human race had the most supreme masters. Including himself, there were 2 supreme masters. The Golden Buddha Supreme was still in seclusion, followed by the giant race and the barbarian race, each having 1 supreme master. As for the other minor races, there was only 1 supreme master. After asking Langya Supreme, he found out that it was the giant tree supreme of the giant tree race. Thinking about it, it wasn't easy for a supreme master to appear. The stronger the race, the easier it was for a supreme master to appear. As for powerful sovereigns, there were many more. Powerful sovereigns were the core strength of a race. Although their current role couldn't compare to that of a super sovereign, their importance wasn't any lower than that of a super sovereign. After all, only with enough powerful sovereigns could a certain number of super sovereigns be born. Otherwise, there would be a situation where there was a shortage of young and old. Glancing around, Yi Chen looked at the opposite side. The Demons Alliance had 5 more sovereigns than the Human Race Alliance, a total of 59. They also had 2 more Supreme Masters. These 2 were Corrupt Devil Heavenly Master and Flawless Demon Master. Yi Chen vaguely sensed that Corrupt Devil Heavenly Master's injuries hadn't recovered yet. His aura was a little unstable. Thinking about it, it wasn't that easy to recover from a direct hit from a saint weapon. The Golden Buddha Supreme had been in seclusion for hundreds of years before finally expelling the power of the bloodthirsty spear. After all, Corrupt Devil Heavenly Master was in the martial path Yuanshan state, so it would be even more difficult for him to recover. Even so, Corrupt Devil Heavenly Master was still the biggest threat after the Heavenly Demon Master. On the human race's side, except for the true Martial Supreme, no one could stop him. The Golden Buddha Supreme had broken through to the 9th transformation, so he might be able to stop Corrupt Devil Heavenly Master. However, that was only because of his powerful defense. In a frontal attack, the Golden Buddha Supreme was most likely not a match for Corrupt Devil Heavenly Master. Supreme Dual Extinction, Supreme Hydralisk, I didn't expect you to join the Demons Alliance. The true Martial Supreme's eyes fell on the 2 enemy Supreme. One was a Supreme covered in bone fragments, and the other was a female Supreme with a snake tail. These 2 Supreme came from 2 small races, and they had been roped in by the Human Race Alliance before. Supreme Dual Extinction said in a clear voice, "We always have to make choices in life. I'm sorry, but the Demons Alliance is my best choice." Supreme Hydralisk said, "This time, you will definitely lose. My choice is never wrong." Really? Not necessarily. The true Martial Supreme said in a deep voice. True Martial Hydralisk is right. This time, you will definitely lose. Why don't you just admit defeat? I don't want much, just half of the White Tiger Starfield. The heavenly demon master held the bloodthirsty spear and laughed in high spirits. Heavenly demon master, the human race and the demon race have been fighting for countless years. When did the demons ever conquer the human race? This time, your extravagant hopes will still be in vain. In that case, let's fight. The heavenly demon master sneered and waved his hand. Seeing this, a supreme demons walked out. Who dares to fight with me, the shadow demon master? The shadow demon master was just an ordinary supreme, but he was not afraid. The supreme war had its own rules. Ordinary supreme would fight against ordinary supreme, and strong supreme would fight against strong supreme. If there were many ordinary supreme on one side, then a few ordinary supreme could fight against one. It was the same for strong supreme and super supreme. The supreme war would last for a long time, so there was no need to worry about the outcome. Therefore, having one more or one less supreme was completely different. If the overall strength of both sides was similar, having one more supreme would be the last straw that broke the camel's back, and it could completely change the situation. Supreme Shadow, your opponent is me. The human race's Phantom Supreme stood out. He and the Shadow Demon Master were sworn enemies. One was a shadow and the other was a phantom. When they moved, they came and went like ghosts, and their styles were similar. The two immediately started fighting. Time and space were like folded crystals. Their figures could be seen everywhere. In just a short while, they had fought dozens of light years away. 1-on-1, or 1-on-2. In just a short while, both Ordinary Supreme and Strong Supreme had their own opponents. Earth Demon Master, do you dare to fight? The Demons Alliance's Supreme weren't surprised that Yichen stayed in the camp of the Super Supreme. Of course, deep in their hearts, they had their doubts. It had only been a few years, but this new Supreme of the human race had actually reached such a high level. When they heard Yichen call him Earth Demon Master, some of the Super Supremes sneered. He really didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Flawless Demon Master was the weakest existence among them. Did he think that by suppressing Flawless Demon Master, he could challenge the Earth Demon Master? Kid, I will let you die very, very miserably. I wonder if you can resist as much as the Golden Buddha Supreme. The Earth Demon Master walked out gloomily, staring at Yichen as if he was looking at a dead man. Chapter 13-14. The Golden Buddha Supreme is the pillar of the human clan. You can't be compared to him. I will deal with you. With his left hand behind his back, Yichen said confidently, You're courting death. Earth Demon Venerable's eyes shot out a terrifying light. Earth Demon, don't be rash. Remember, you must kill this guy. Don't give him time to grow. Sky Demon Venerable transmitted his voice to Earth Demon Venerable. Don't worry. If it was me in the past, it would be difficult to kill this guy. But now, with the twisted dagger, it won't take more than 10 moves to kill him. Earth Demon Venerable licked his lips. His body seemed to be moving slowly, but it was actually very fast. The void on both sides roared and distorted. Yichen, be careful. True Martial Supreme warned Yichen when he saw Earth Demon Venerable rushing over. I know what I'm doing. Yichen quickly went up to meet him. There was a distance of hundreds of billions of miles between the two. But this distance was not enough for them to burst out with their speed. They collided with each other. Boom, an earth-shattering sound spread out. Both of them were sent flying. Yichen was sent flying hundreds of billions of miles away, while Earth Demon Venerable was also sent flying hundreds of millions of miles away. However, neither of them used any weapons. One used a palm technique while the other used a finger sword. Yichen was much weaker. After all, in terms of real strength, Yichen was barely a mid-level Supreme Master while Earth Demon Venerable was a veteran mid-level Supreme Master. Quite strong. Yichen was slightly excited as it was his first time fighting against a Position Demon Venerable. As expected of the Earth Demon Venerable, the nemesis of the Golden Buddha Supreme. If I didn't have the Heavenly Sword, it would be impossible for me to suppress him. How is this possible? Didn't Flawless Demon Venerable say that he only has the strength of a low-level Supreme Master? Earth Demon Venerable was shocked. Gosh, he actually clashed with Earth Demon Venerable and was not injured at all. Amazing! The human race has picked up a treasure this time. To think that such a terrifying genius would be born. Looks like the luck of the human race hasn't weakened at all. Instead, it's getting stronger. Yi Chen's strength and monstrous talent strengthened the confidence of the human race alliance's supremes. To be honest, it was not that many of them had not thought about it, but they had been members of the human race alliance since ancient times. If they betrayed the human race alliance, not only would they be hated by the human race alliance, they would also not have much status in the demons alliance. No matter who it was, they would not have too much trust in traitors, unless they did not care about their betrayal. But in that case, they would have even less status. Celestial Demon Sovereign frowned slightly. The way he looked at Yi Chen was as gloomy as one could imagine. The Demons Alliance would not allow such a genius to appear in the human race. The other party's monstrous level made him feel that a monster with the bloodline of a great demon king had appeared in the human race. That fellow actually became stronger again. Flawless Demon Venerable's mouth was wide open. Old demon, go all out to kill him, I don't want to see any accidents happen, Heavenly Demon Commander hurriedly said. Understood. Taking a deep breath, Earth Demon Sovereign let out a long roar. His long black hair shot into the sky, reaching deep into the void, covering the entire space. Both of his hands were pitch black as he slapped out. The pitch-black palm wind turned into countless evil ghosts that pounced towards Yi Chen. Among the evil ghosts were the evil ghost king and the evil ghost old ancestor. They surrounded Golden Buddha Supreme, wanting to devour his flesh. Supreme Palm Art, Thousand Ghosts Greeting. Earth Demon Sovereign had never thought of using Thousand Ghosts Greeting to kill Yi Chen. That was impossible. It was extremely difficult for a Super Supreme to kill a Super Supreme. Even if the other party could not defeat you, they could still escape. Unless your speed was much faster than the other party, you could only continue chasing until you no longer wanted to. The purpose of Thousand Ghosts Greeting was to entangle Yi Chen, not giving him a chance to escape. Die! With a flip of his right hand, a malevolent-looking dagger appeared in the Earth Demon Sovereign's hand. As this dagger appeared, time and space started to distort. Even the Earth Demon Sovereign's palms started to distort. It was as though this dagger could distort everything. Swish. With his speed increasing, Earth Demon Sovereign was like a fish in water. He shuttled through the endless evil spirits and arrived before Yi Chen in an instant, stabbing the dagger over. Given the strangeness of the twisted dagger, all of Yi Chen's methods were useless. The twisted dagger was more than enough to distort the opponent's defense. Saint Tool. Yi Chen was startled. He instantly unsheathed the heavenly sword. Clang. Sparks illuminated the deathly silent void. Earth Demon Sovereign was sent flying backwards. As for Yi Chen, he also retreated diagonally. His opponent's dagger was too strange. It actually twisted the trajectory of the heavenly sword. If it wasn't for the fact that the heavenly sword was a saint's sword, Yi Chen would definitely not be able to block this dagger. Saint Tool. Earth Demon Sovereign was even more surprised than Yi Chen. The twisted dagger came from a miracle. Hundreds of years ago, the Demons Alliance started a war against the Human Alliance because they had obtained the Bloodthirst Spear. Hundreds of years later, the Demons Alliance started a war against the Human Alliance again because they had corrupt Demon Heavenly Master and the Twisted Dagger. In their eyes, this was heaven's blessing for the Demons Alliance. However, where did this Saint Sword of the Human Alliance come from? They had never heard of a miracle appearing in the Human Alliance's territory. I really didn't expect that the Human Alliance would have another Saint Tool. Sky Demon Sovereign squinted his eyes and said coldly. Supreme True Marshal put away his surprise. Same to you. Flawless Demon Sovereign, it's your turn. Sky Demon Sovereign looked at Flawless Demon Sovereign. Hearing this, Flawless Demon Sovereign walked out and looked at the Supreme of the Human Alliance. A tall figure stepped out. It was the Bronze Supreme. You are no match for me. Flawless Demon Sovereign shook his head. His goal was to stall a Supreme. Fighting against a Supreme would be a waste of effort. We'll find out later. The Human Alliance had lost two Supreme. Even if the Golden Buddha Supreme returned, they would lose one. Therefore he had to go. Otherwise, the situation would be even more dangerous for the human alliance. In that case, I'll take care of you first. Flawless Demon Sovereign didn't waste any time and charged at the Bronze Supreme. He wanted to take care of his opponent in the shortest time possible. Every Supreme had an opponent. Blood Drop Sovereign of Yaksha clan wielded a Saint weapon, Blood Drop Spear, and Storm Sovereign of Barbarian race clashed. The battle between the two was comparable to the battle between Earth Demon Sovereign and Yichen. Saint weapons clashed against each other, sweeping through the boundless void. Evil Spirit race's Evil Soul Old Ancestor and the Giant race's Supreme Mountain Chio also had Saint tools. The Evil Soul Old Ancestor's Saint tool was the Thousand Poison Soul Staff, while the Mountain Chio's Saint tool was the Mountain Splitting Axe. In the end, only Corrupt Demon Heavenly Master, Sky Demon Sovereign, and Supreme True Martial were left. Sky Demon Sovereign grinned. Looks like the Golden Buddha Supreme won't be able to make it. Corrupt Demon Heavenly Master, you can attack at will. Kill as many as you can. In terms of seniority, Corrupt Demon Heavenly Master was many times older than Sky Demon Sovereign. His strength at his peak had also surpassed Sky Demon Sovereign's. However, in this era where strength determined status, the strong were respected. Corrupt Demon Heavenly Master was very clear about this. Just as he was about to move, a golden light swept over from the depths of space and time. Wherever the golden light passed, time and space froze. Then, a huge golden palm with the swastika word on its palm struck at Corrupt Demon Heavenly Master. This palm gave off an aura that could shake the world and pierce through everything. Corrupt Demon Heavenly Master's palm pressed forward. Instantly, his body staggered and retreated. Amitba, I'm late. Golden light flashed, and the Golden Buddha Supreme appeared. His height had increased from 6 feet to 7 feet. His foundation was undeniably #1 in the universe. Chapter 13:15. Golden Body 9 Revolutions, 9th Revolution. Heavenly Demon Sovereign said word by word. I didn't expect someone to reach the 9th revolution of the Golden Body 9 revolutions in this era. That's good. I haven't fought someone who has reached the 9th revolution in a long time. The last time I fought was with Golden Body Supreme. Heavenly Master Rot Devil's face flashed with fighting spirit. The Golden Body Sovereign was many times stronger than the Golden Buddha Sovereign. He had also cultivated the 9th transformation Golden Body to the pinnacle of the 9th transformation. He was a true legendary sovereign. However, the current him was no longer the him of the past. Fighting with a legendary sovereign would be courting death. Golden Buddha, you're finally here. True Martial Supreme breathed a sigh of relief. With Golden Buddha here, he could deal with Heavenly Demon Sovereign with peace of mind. Golden Buddha Supreme nodded. I've made you worry. Leave him to me. Golden Buddha Supreme's body seemed to be made of the purest gold. Even his eyebrows and pupils were golden. Just by standing there, he gave off an invincible feeling that he could suppress tens of thousands of demons. As for Heavenly Master Rot Devil, he was like a demonic shadow. He didn't seem to have any weight. Wherever he looked, the void began to decay and shatter. Corrosive God Fist. Vast Buddha Light. The two of them immediately used their respective ultimate techniques. Green Fist winds and golden waves collided, but in the end, it was still Empyrean Rot Devil who gained the upper hand. Golden Buddha Supreme was enveloped by endless fist winds, and the surrounding space and time around him was corroded to the point of being riddled with holes, dripping with green mucus. Sure enough, Golden Buddha Supreme is much weaker in terms of attack. Dozens of light years away, Yichen was fighting while watching True Martial Supreme's battle. The moment Gold Buddha Supreme appeared, he heaved a sigh of relief just like True Martial Supreme. But, as Rotten Devil Heavenly Venerable gained the absolute upper hand, Yichen couldn't help but frown. Golden Body 9 transformations had probably raised Gold Buddha Supreme from mid-grade Supreme to high-grade Supreme. However, Rotten Devil Heavenly Venerable was a quasi-legendary Supreme. Only Sky Demon Venerable and True Martial Supreme, who wielded Saint artifacts, could injure him. I wonder if the 9th revolution of the Golden Body 9 revolutions can withstand the power of corrosion? A strong defense didn't mean that it was indestructible. For example, steel was hard enough, but some liquids could also instantly corrode steel. The green fist wind dissipated, and a golden light lit up. The golden Buddha Supreme Being was unharmed. The 9 revolutions golden body was almost flawless, and the corrosive power could do nothing to it. The only way to break the 9 revolutions golden body was through energy consumption. As long as the golden Buddha Supreme's Zhen Yuan was used up, then the 9 revolutions golden body would have no energy source, and naturally, it would win without a fight. However, the golden Buddha Supreme's foundation was much stronger than True Martial Supreme and Sky Demon Venerables. Exhausting his Zhen Yuan was not something ordinary people could do. Sky Demon Venerable had once ambushed the golden Buddha Supreme, but after fighting for several days and nights, his Zhen Yuan did not decrease much. As expected of the 9th transformation golden body. Yi Chen retracted his gaze. He knew that there was no need to worry about the golden Buddha Supreme Being, unless Empyrean Rot Devil had a saint artifact in his hands. Brat, you dare to be distracted in front of me? How could Earth Demon Venerable not notice that Yi Chen was distracted just now? He could not help but be enraged. The twisted dagger turned into millions of twisted arcs, attacking towards Yi Chen. With a heaven sword in hand, Yi Chen protected himself perfectly. Up until now, Yi Chen found that even saint artifacts had different levels. Although his heaven sword's origin was damaged, it was still a level stronger than the opponent's dagger. At the beginning, because he did not know about the special characteristics of the twisted dagger, he was almost hit. Earth Demon Venerable, your era has passed. In the world of experts, if you do not advance, you will fall. Yi Chen mercilessly attacked the opponent. He was now waiting for Earth Demon Venerable to use his trump card. Once Earth Demon Venerable used all his trump cards, it would be time for Yi Chen to go all out. The Golden Buddha Supreme's arrival made Sky Demon Venerable's wishful thinking fall through. According to his estimation, he had at least an 80% chance of winning against the Human Race Alliance. True Martial, watch my spear. Sky Demon Venerable wore the Sky Demon's sacred armor and held the blood-thirst spear. He swept with his spear like a dancing blood dragon, destroying the void. Come on! Supreme True Martial slashed at the blood dragon with his True Martial divine mace. Rumble! The battle between the two of them surpassed everyone else. They had saint artifacts and were also high-level supremes. Their strength had already reached the level of legendary supremes. Even the Golden Buddha Supremacy, Heavenly Venerable Rot Devil, wasn't a match for them. Ding, ding, ding. Not only were their attacks strong, but their supreme martial arts were also exquisite. There was no pause between their moves. They were executed at will. Light flashed and the two of them came near Yi Chen and Earth Demon Venerable. Sky Demon Venerable's eyes flashed. He waved the bloodthirst spear and 3 spear radiance attacked Yi Chen. Sky Demon Venerable, don't you think you are too shameless? Supreme True Martial's speed exploded and he blocked the 3 spear radiance attacks. With Sky Demon Venerable's strength, the 3 spear radiance attacks weren't something that Yi Chen could block. Once Yi Chen was injured by the bloodthirst spear, Earth Demon Venerable would have a chance. The winner takes all and the loser takes all. That is the rule of the heavens. Sky Demon Venerable didn't feel ashamed at all. He would still attack Yi Chen if he had the chance. That was close. Yi Chen didn't plan to fight Sky Demon Venerable yet. That would be an act of overestimating himself. Moreover, the bloodthirst spear seemed to be stronger than the Sky Sword unless the Sky Sword could recover. Yi Chen's sword aura strengthened and he kept attacking, forcing Earth Demon Venerable to retreat dozens of light years away from the battle between Sky Demon Venerable and Supreme True Martial. Heart Demon Kill. Suddenly, an aura 100 times stronger than before exploded from Earth Demon Venerable. The twisted dagger stabbed at Yi Chen at a speed that surpassed the limits of the heavens. Time and space meant nothing to him. Heart Force eruption is so strong. Yi Chen was shocked. Heart Force had peaks and troughs. If one could maintain the troughs at a high level and increase the peaks infinitely, then one's battle prowess would increase greatly. The two's Heart Force had been maintained at a high level since the beginning of the battle. He didn't expect Earth Demon Venerable to continue erupting his heart force and increase his strength by 100 times. Caught off guard, Yichen only had time to raise the sky sword horizontally. Clang! The sky sword collided with Yi Chen's body and sent him flying. Fortunately, his immortal sword body gave him a strong defense, so he wasn't injured. He's not injured? Earth Demon Venerable gritted his teeth. His heart demon kill consumed a lot of his heart power. If he used it too many times, his heart power would reach a low point. He originally thought that even if he could not hit Yi Chen with his twisted dagger, he would at least be able to wound him. None of the supreme beings can be underestimated. This should be Earth Demon Sovereign's final trump card. With this thought in mind, Yi Chen squinted his eyes. Earth Demon Sovereign, take my sword as well. With his heart force erupting, Yi Chen used Omniscient Nature, which had the most variations. Omniscient Nature's variations had also surpassed the limits of the heavens. Chapter 13:16. Danger! As soon as the boundless manifestation sword aura appeared, Earth Demon Sovereign's face turned pale. If Yi Chen didn't have the holy sword in his hand, he wouldn't be too worried even if he was hit. Between Super Supremes, it was very difficult to injure each other. Saint artifacts were an exception. However, Yi Chen had the holy sword in his hand. As long as he was grazed, his foundation would be injured. I can't be hit. Earth Demon Venerable poured demonic energy into the twisted dagger. In a short time, he consumed more demonic energy than before. Under normal circumstances, there was a limit to how much energy a weapon could be infused. Beyond this limit, no matter how much energy was infused, it wouldn't increase its power much. It might even cause the weapon to explode. Naturally, the holy artifact couldn't explode, but the increase in power was limited. But it could at least slightly increase the power of the twisted dagger. The twisted dagger created layers of illusions. The violent power of distortion overlapped, making Earth Demon Venerable feel like he was in another world. A blurry world separated by countless layers of space. The next moment, countless bubbles disappeared, and the power of distortion was peeled off layer by layer. The reason why the omniscient nature was so powerful was that the sword art pointed directly to the heart, and the changes were close to infinite, even the enemy's heart could be reflected. However, the twisted dagger was a sacred tool after all, and it contained incredible power. The sword momentum of the omniscient nature could not directly lock on to the Earth Demon Venerable, and it was distorted. I blocked it. Earth Demon Venerable heaved a sigh of relief. It seems that the opponent is just SOSO. I underestimated the twisted dagger. Earth Demon Venerable's confidence grew after blocking Yi Chen's sword. To be honest, his confidence had been shaken before. This dagger's effect is to distort everything. Then what effect does my heavenly sword have? Holy artifacts had their own effects. For example, the twisted dagger contained the power of distortion, the bloodthirsty spear contained the power of bloodthirsty, the true martial divine mace contained the power of unparalleled, and the blood-dripping spear had the power of dripping blood. The others such as the storm hammer, the thousand poison soul staff, and the mountain-splitting axe all had their own powerful effects. This was one of the main reasons why holy artifacts were so powerful. While Yi Chen and Earth Demon Venerable were fighting, the other Supremes were also fighting. Among them, the Bronze Supreme Martial Artist had it the hardest. After all, he was only a top-notch Supreme Being. Perhaps he was one of the best among the Supreme Beings, but when he encountered a Super Supreme Being, he was suppressed from the start to the end. Fortunately, Flawless Demon Sovereign was a 100 transformation demon, which was weaker in terms of combat. Even so, Bronze Supreme Being still suffered some light injuries. Even his Supreme Being armor was unable to completely offset the opponent's attack. If I can cultivate the Bronze Battle Body to the 5th level, he won't be able to hurt me. The Bronze Dragon Bloodline's strongest body-refining martial art was the Bronze Battle Body. The Bronze Battle Body had a total of 5 levels, and as long as one cultivated it to the 5th level, they would be able to withstand the attack of a Super Sovereign. Of course, the most powerful body-refining martial art of the Dragon Clan was the Golden Battle Body, which was only slightly inferior to the Golden Body Transformation 9 transformations. The reason why Yi Chen was able to create the immortal sword body was that he had studied the countless black smoke in the Black Wind Stream and his own immortal sword soul. Compared to the Bronze Sovereign, the Golden Buddha Sovereign was much more relaxed. After breaking through to the 9th transformation of the 9 transformations Golden Body, there was almost no one who could hurt him except for a divine weapon. Moreover, this was the early stage of the 9th transformation of the 9 transformations Golden Body. Once he cultivated to the peak of the 9 transformations Golden Body, even a legendary sovereign wouldn't be able to hurt him. Ding, ding. Heavenly Lord Corrupt Devil's martial art was a supreme martial art, exquisite and extraordinary. Even Heavenly Devil Sovereign and True Martial Sovereign couldn't compare to it. In a short period of time, the Golden Buddha Sovereign suffered no less than dozens of attacks. Really troublesome. Heavenly Lord Corrupt Devil was a little annoyed. He didn't have a divine weapon, so he didn't know how long it would take to exhaust the opponent's Zhen Yuan. Although the ratio of Zhen Yuan consumption between the two was 10 to 1, the Golden Buddha Sovereign's Zhen Yuan was the strongest among all the sovereigns. The Zhen Yuan contained in the 70-meter-tall golden body was too vast. Corrosive demonic light. Suddenly, 2 black beams shot out of Heavenly Lord Corrupt Devil's eyes and entered the Golden Buddha Sovereign's forehead. The Golden Buddha Sovereign felt dizzy, but he quickly recovered. Upon reaching the Supreme Realm, Soul Attack secret arts were nearly useless, unless they were Transcendent Soul Attack secret arts. But Transcendent Soul Attack secret arts were even rarer than Transcendent Martial Arts. The vast majority of legendary Supremes weren't able to create one. As for Empyrean Corrupt Devil's Corrosive Demonic Light, it was only one of the more powerful Transcendent Soul Attack secret arts. My martial path Yuan Shen is too seriously injured, and I only have 1,000th of my peak power. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to block it. Heavenly Lord Corrupt Devil didn't use soul attacks anymore. If he recovered the power of a legendary sovereign, the Golden Buddha Sovereign would more or less be injured. The same soul attack secret art, when used by different people, had different power. The most intense battle was between True Martial Sovereign and Heavenly Devil Sovereign. But the battle between the two was also the most boring. The main reason was that both of them had divine weapon armors. True Martial Sovereign's divine weapon armor was a little broken, but he didn't give Heavenly Devil Sovereign a chance to hit his body. Some aftershocks couldn't shake him at all, so it was impossible for him to fight head-on and get injured instead. Again and again, they tested each other. Both of them were exploring the mysteries of each other's divine weapon, preparing for the next attack. That's right, the Heavenly Sword once contained the Light Sword Will. Could the effect of the Heavenly Sword be the power of light? Yi Chen used all his sword skills once, but he could only suppress Earth Devil Sovereign at most. He couldn't break through his opponent's power of distortion. He even tried to use soul attacks. He didn't cultivate a supreme soul attack secret art, because the Netherworld Sacred Eye would improve along with the realm, so there was no need to cultivate a supreme soul attack secret art. But the power of distortion of the Distortion Dagger could even distort soul attacks, so it couldn't make Earth Devil Sovereign dizzy for a short time. Of course, Earth Devil Sovereign's Supreme Soul Attack secret art couldn't do anything to Yi Chen. Yi Chen had the Netherworld Sacred Eye, the Immortal Sword Soul and the Destruction Sword Soul, so any soul attack was useless against him. Besides the Destruction Sword Will in the Heavenly Sword, Yi Chen also transferred the not-so-powerful Light Sword Will into it. As the Light Sword Will entered, the Heavenly Sword seemed to have spirituality, and it shone brightly. Just as I thought. Yi Chen rejoiced in his heart. The power of light wasn't just pure power. With it, all the means of the enemy wouldn't be able to deceive his eyes. This was a righteous power, and he could only face it head-on. Boundless nature was used again. Earth Devil Sovereign was horrified to find that the power of distortion couldn't distort the opponent's sword momentum. This sword momentum contained the power of light, and it directly enveloped him. The Distortion Dagger was much weaker than the Heavenly Sword. 3 wriggling sword marks appeared on Earth Devil Sovereign's body, shuttling back and forth on his body. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't recover. When the inextinguishable power encountered the sword marks, it was quickly consumed, which scared Earth Devil Sovereign so much that he didn't dare to use the inextinguishable power that came with the 8th rank spirit body. Chapter 13:17. Not good. Heaven Demon Venerable had been paying attention to Earth Demon Venerable's situation. Seeing Yi Chen injure Earth Demon Venerable with a single strike, he was both shocked and furious. After being struck by a saint artifact, even he wouldn't be much better off, let alone Earth Demon Venerable. Haha, with such a genius, my human race will definitely prosper. Supreme True Martial laughed happily. He hadn't been this happy in a long time. The long period of pressure had made him feel incomparably tired. Only killing could make him forget everything. What? Earth Demon Venerable is injured. Not good. Now that Earth Demon Venerable is defeated, what should we do? Why are there always geniuses in the human race? Each one is more stunning than the other. The heavens are really too biased. The battle between Supremes was long and drawn out. Everyone was paying attention to each other. Yi Chen, you dare to injure me? Earth Demon Venerable roared in disbelief. Every time the sword wound on his body made a circle, it would take away a part of his essence, energy, and soul, causing a gap to appear in his foundation. So what if I injure you? Yi Chen sneered. Heart Demon kill. Erupting with his heart force, Earth Demon Venerable threw out the twisting dagger in his hand. The twisting dagger hissed in the air, and in the next moment, it transformed into a single-horned black snake. The single-horned black snake slithered rapidly, and in the blink of an eye, it had arrived in front of Yi Chen. Ding! Similarly erupting with his heart force, Yi Chen sent the single-horned black snake flying with a single strike. However, the single-horned black snake seemed to have a mind of its own. Every time it was sent flying, it would fly back and attack Yi Chen from an even more crafty angle. Dozens of times. Yi Chen was clearly stronger than Earth Demon Venerable, but at this moment he was in a passive situation. The twisting dagger was too strange, and the angle of attack was crafty. Why can't I break through his defense? Earth Demon Venerable was incomparably vexed. There was a limit to his heart force eruption. If this move couldn't injure Yi Chen, then his heart force would fall to the bottom. In the end, Earth Demon Venerable still couldn't injure Yi Chen. Although he was much stronger than Yi Chen in terms of heart force, he was still lacking a little if he wanted to break through Yi Chen's defense. Death Cleave. Yi Chen could sense that the Earth Demon Venerable's aura had become much weaker. He unleashed his death cut, and the overwhelming sword shadows engulfed the Earth Demon Venerable. 2 sword shadows streaked across the Earth Demon Venerable's shoulder and waist, leaving behind a sword mark on each of them. Including these 2 sword scars, there were a total of 5 sword scars on the Earth Demon Venerable's body. These 5 sword scars were like 5 blood-sucking worms, sucking the source energy from the Earth Demon Venerable's body. Meanwhile, the Earth Demon Venerable's heart force was at its lowest point. Coupled with the fact that he had been injured by the Heaven Sword, his strength had dropped to an unprecedented level. Sword Burial Technique. 5-element slash. All things in the world. Yi Chen seized the opportunity and used his ultimate moves. If he could eliminate the Earth Demon Venerable, it would definitely be a blow to the demons, and the human race would have one less enemy. Samsara. 7. 10. When the number of sword scars on his body reached 10, the Earth Demon Venerable was afraid. If this continued, he would become weaker and weaker until he was killed by Yi Chen. Once he died, there would be nothing left. Sky Demon. Earth Demon Venerable asked Heavenly Demon Venerable for help. You, come to me. The Sky Demon Venerable's face was gloomy. Yi Chen was the biggest variable in this Supreme Being battle. He was also a variable that he had never expected. As for the Golden Buddha Supreme, he was another variable. When these 2 variables were combined, it was enough to turn the situation around. Hearing this, the Earth Demon Venerable's speed erupted as he flew towards the Sky Demon Venerable. An opening appeared in the Sky Demon domain, and the Earth Demon Venerable entered. Boom! Boom! Supreme True Martial took the opportunity to attack, causing the Sky Demon domain to distort. However, the Sky Demon's Saint armor was too strong. Supreme True Marshal's attacks only made the Sky Demon Venerable retreat a dozen steps. Supreme True Marshal, I'll go help Supreme Bronze. Seeing that the Earth Demon Venerable had the protection of the Sky Demon Venerable, Yichen felt that it was a pity. With the Sky Demon Venerable's protection, not to mention him, even Supreme True Marshal wouldn't be able to injure the Earth Demon Venerable. Moreover, there was quite a gap between him and the Sky Demon Venerable and Supreme True Marshal. Even if he helped, it would be useless. He might as well help the others. Alright, I don't need your help here. Supreme True Marshal nodded. The battle between Bronze Supremacy and Flawless Demon Supremacy was completely one-sided. After all, Flawless Demon Supremacy was a supreme supremacy. His attacks were many times stronger than Bronze Supremacy's. Even with the supreme armor reducing 90% of his attacks, it was still difficult for him to endure. Bronze Supremacy estimated that he would be unable to hold on for another quarter of an hour at most. Just as Flawless Demon Venerable was about to attack Supreme Bronze again, a sharp sword appeared out of thin air and sent Flawless Demon Venerable tumbling back. Yichen. Flawless Demon Venerable was shocked. Supreme Bronze, you go help the others. Leave this demon to me. Yichen ignored Flawless Demon Venerable and said to Supreme Bronze, that would be for the best. The Bronze Supremacy heaved a sigh of relief. He could finally take a breather. His injuries weren't too serious. It was just that fighting Flawless Demon Supremacy had put him under a lot of pressure. He wasn't afraid of anyone below Supremacy. We meet again. Yichen stood upright in the void with the Heaven Sword pointing downward. Being stared at by Yichen, Flawless Demon Venerable felt like he had nowhere to run. Yichen, don't be too arrogant. You should know that you have truly offended the demons by obstructing our great cause. In the future, we demons will go all out to kill you. There will be no escape for you. Flawless Demon Venerable threatened. With a smile, Yichen mocked. It seems that the demons and humans have been enemies since ancient times. Do you think I'm a 3-year-old child? Also, I welcome you to find trouble with me at all costs. I'm happy to oblige. It wasn't an exaggeration to say that Yichen was a battle maniac. Without battle, what was the point of pursuing the pinnacle of Sword Dao? Cut the crap. Take the sword. With a flash, Yichen thrust his sword at Flawless Demon Venerable. Flawless Demon Venerable found that he couldn't dodge this sword and could only resist with all his might. This sword was too powerful. The dagger in Flawless Demon Venerable's hand was turned around and pierced into his own chest. He spurted out a mouthful of blood as his chest caved in. Along the way, Flawless Demon Venerable kept spurting out blood. The dagger in his hand was a supreme weapon, while Yichen's was a saint sword. The power of the saint weapon was cancelled out by the dagger and supreme armor. It was not something he could handle, and his origin was damaged. Die. The most versatile skill, 10,000 forms of limitless phenomenon, was displayed. Bubbles appeared and disappeared. Flawless Demon Venerable felt like he was being cut into pieces. His flesh and blood flew everywhere, and his bones and flesh were separated. However, a Super Supreme was still a Super Supreme. This sword still couldn't kill Flawless Demon Venerable. Killing intent surged in Yichen's eyes as he continued to display his killing moves. Brat, you dare? I, Heavenly Demon Venerable, swear that if you kill him today, I will make sure you die without a complete corpse in the future. I will kill all of your 9 generations. Heavenly Demon Venerable roared. It was too late for him to save Flawless Demon Venerable. He regretted that he didn't give the order to retreat immediately, which led to Flawless Demon Venerable being in a situation where he was sure to die. Hundreds of petals danced in the air as a sharp sword light flashed by. The flesh and blood of Flawless Demon Venerable was instantly destroyed. Chapter 13:18. Right at this moment, Heavenly Venerable Rotten Devil, who was battling Golden Buddha Supreme, flickered and instantly appeared behind Yichen like a flickering light. A green spiraling fist wind rushed toward Yichen. Heavenly Sovereign Rotting Devil was a legendary sovereign at his peak. Although he was currently in martial Yuan spirit state and had been injured by True Martial Supreme's divine rapier, his strength was not even 1/10,000th of his peak. However, a legendary sovereign was a legendary sovereign after all, and the martial skill he used was a supreme martial skill. Yi Chen only had time to take a step sideways before he was struck by the fist wind. Like a windmill, Yi Chen spun hundreds of times. His entire body was wrapped up in the green storm, sacrificing a flawless demon master in exchange for the life of a peerless genius. It's worth it. Rotten Demon had been waiting for a chance to kill Yi Chen. Therefore, even if Flawless Demon Master was killed by Yi Chen, he didn't care. As long as Yi Chen was dead, the human race would lose. Now, his wait was worth it. Although Yi Chen had a sacred weapon, it was a sacred sword, not a sacred armor. How could it defend against his all-out attack? Even a legendary supreme would suffer after being hit by my corrosive spiral wave, let alone you. Rotten Demon Master sneered. True Martial Supreme was stunned. The Golden Buddha Supreme was also stunned. Sky Demon Master's expression brightened up. Just like Rotten Demon Master, he was more than happy to sacrifice Flawless Demon Master in exchange for Yi Chen. He didn't particularly care about Flawless Demon Master's strength. It would be great if he had Flawless Demon Master, but it didn't matter if he didn't. After all, Flawless Demon Master had always been hiding in the dark. The only thing he cared about was Yi Chen's identity as a 100 transformation demon. What a powerful corrosive power. In the green storm, Yi Chen's immortal sword body emitted a sizzling sound of corrosion. His right shoulder, which was directly hit, was already dyed with a layer of green. The corrosive toxin was spreading through his flesh and blood. Once it spread to his whole body, it was estimated that his soul and martial arts Yuan Shen would not be spared. Supreme martial arts were not that easy to endure. Fortunately, Yi Chen had the Immortal Sword Intent and the Destruction Sword Intent, these two supreme sword intents. The Immortal Sword Intent was able to resist the spreading of the corrosive toxins, while the Destruction Sword Intent was able to slowly kill the toxins. With the cooperation of the two supreme sword intents, Yi Chen didn't lose his life directly. Of course, the supreme armor on Yi Chen's body had been completely destroyed by the corrosive power. Even the source of the armor had been polluted, and even his cultivation couldn't be repaired. Sword light flashed. Yi Chen's right shoulder and arm were chopped off by Yi Chen's sword. The corrosive toxin was too overbearing, and Yi Chen had no way to expel it in a short period of time. Thus, he might as well damage his own origin energy and cut off the corroded part. As soon as this part was cut off from Yi Chen's body, it instantly turned into green pus that corroded the void. Sword energy and inextinguishable strength surged. Yi Chen's right shoulder and right arm quickly grew back. With a wave of his hand, the remnants of the green storm dissipated. Yi Chen looked at Empyrean Rot Demon. This opponent's attack had consumed 30% of his sword energy and half of his inextinguishable strength. It was truly worthy of being a supreme martial art. What, you didn't die? Empyrean Rot Demon was stunned. I won't give you another chance. Yi Chen was extremely wary of Empyrean Rot Demon, even more so than Empyrean Sky Devil. Empyrean Sky Devil used a supreme martial art. Yi Chen had a high chance of dodging it, but he couldn't completely dodge a supreme martial art. Of course, this was also related to Empyrean Rot Demon's sneak attack. Empyrean Rot Demon, your opponent is me. As Yi Chen spoke, Golden Buddha Supreme stood in front of Empyrean Rot Demon. Apart from Supreme True Martial, only he could completely block Empyrean Rot Demon. Empyrean Rot Demon stared at Yi Chen and didn't attack again. Fortunately, Supreme True Martial exhaled. Fortunately, Yi Chen didn't die. An unblemished demon sovereign for Yi Chen was too much of a loss for the human race. Yi Chen, very good. Treasure your remaining life. You don't have much time left. Empyrean Sky Devil Sovereign's right hand that was holding the Bloodthirst spear slightly spun. Blood spurted out and was absorbed by the spear. In the next moment, the spear's blood-red radiance erupted. With a sweep of the spear, Supreme True Martial was sent flying several light years away. Retreat! Supreme True Martial roared and raised the Bloodthirst spear toward the sky. A brazen killing intent filled the void. Everyone stopped, including the Supremes of Human Race Alliance. If they wanted to take advantage of the situation, they would have to face the wrath of Empyrean Sky Devil Sovereign. With his strength, it wasn't impossible to kill 1 or 2 Supremes of Human Race Alliance. Of course, at that time, both sides would suffer great losses, and the Supremes of Demons Alliance would suffer even greater casualties. Before leaving, Empyrean Sky Devil Sovereign coldly stared at Yichin. If an ordinary Supremes were to be stared at by this gaze, they would probably have nightmares. However, Yichin was indifferent. The battle came quickly and ended quickly. As soon as the battle between the Supremes ended, the battle between the armies also ended. Both sides lost countless life and death soldiers, and even some quasi-venerables. When the army of Demons Alliance retreated, the Human Race Alliance erupted in cheers. They had won. Truly inconceivable. I thought we were going to die in the battlefield. Yeah, Demons Alliance came with such a menacing momentum, but they were beaten back by us. It must be the battle between the Supremes. Our Human Race Alliance has the upper hand. Then it should be so. In a battle between armies, we are much weaker. Everyone discussed spiritedly, and their emotions were stirred. Murong Qingqing and Su Jing did not die. The battle had not lasted for a long time, but they had gained a lot. The berserk aura of the battle had allowed them to display their potential to the fullest. The continuous battles with the demi-sovereigns had also tempered them. Normally, when they fought with demi-sovereigns, they would not go all out. It was not a true life and death battle. Among the quasi-venerables, Duguju and Yan Qingxian were undoubtedly a pair of shining stars. The number of quasi-venerables killed by the two alone reached more than a dozen. As for life and death soldiers, they numbered in the hundreds of thousands. The other side won. Yan Qingxian gazed at the edge of the void. She had a very strange feeling towards Yichin. Back then he was merely a junior, but now he was a supreme supremacy. The difference in life level gave Yan Qingxian a very mysterious feeling when facing Yichin. It was as if her student had suddenly turned into a god worshipped by everyone. I'm still lacking a lot. Just what am I lacking? Duguju pondered. He originally planned to use the battle to sense the supremacy realm, but the battle was over, and he was still confused. Looking at the life and death soldiers filling the starry sky and everyone's respectful attitude, Duguju suddenly understood. General trend. He lacked the general trend. In an era, there could only be one person walking at the front, and Yichin was undoubtedly this person. To become a supremacy, one had to rely on the general trend. Yichin had relied on the Azura World's arena to overcome the general trend of all geniuses, as well as the general trend of being a peak character, and had stepped into the supremacy realm. From now on, I want Duguju's name to resound in the starry sky. Duguju raised his head, his eyes brimming with domineeringness. Chapter 1319. Supreme Yi, it's all thanks to you this time. Supreme Yi, when will you visit my barbarian race? Even if you want to go, you should go to my giant race. With the retreat of the Demons Alliance, the Supremes of the Human Race Alliance heaved a sigh of relief, which was soon followed by ecstasy. Compared to the last time, the Human Race Alliance had won a great victory. The situation was countless times better than they had expected, and all of this was due to Yichin. Of course, Golden Buddha Supreme had also played a big role. After all, he had blocked the most troublesome rotten devil Heavenly Sovereign. Yichin, you did well. True Martial Supreme raised his thumb, his eyes full of admiration. Repelling the Demons Alliance is everyone's contribution. I couldn't have done it alone. Yichin didn't take all the credit for himself. Although the Human Race Alliance didn't lose a single Supremes, they were all wounded. Some of them were especially gravely injured, and their auras were chaotic. Perhaps their strength couldn't compare to Yichin's, but they had all contributed greatly. The credit is naturally everyone's, but we couldn't have done it without you. The golden light on Golden Buddha Supreme's body dimmed as he walked over with a smile. Before, True Martial Supreme and Golden Buddha Supreme were the pillars of the human race, and they had to bear a lot of pressure. They couldn't let the human race fall in their hands. Otherwise, they would become the greatest sinners in history. Now that there was another Super Supremes, Yichen, they were naturally very happy. They wished the human race could have 10 Super Supremes, so that they wouldn't have to worry every day and could do many things they wanted to do, such as exploring the heavenly river in hell. Demon Domain, 9th grade life planet, Lich Planet. On top of a sky-reaching tower, the old Shaman Demon Emperor looked up at the starry sky. Letting out a sigh, Shaman Demon Emperor took out a palm-sized rainbow crystal ball from his storage ring. This was the most precious crystal ball of the Shaman Demon clan. In the entire history of the Shaman Demon clan, there were a total of 5 crystal balls, and 3 had already been used by the ancient people. The ancestor of Lich race instructed that unless it was a matter of life and death, one shouldn't use the fate crystal ball. Otherwise, one would suffer the wrath of heaven. My time has come. I'll use this fate crystal ball to predict the fate of this child for the demons. With the Shaman Demon Emperor's cultivation level, it was impossible for him to predict the fate of an honorable being. But with the Destiny Crystal Ball, things were different. Unless the other party was a demigod and had a trace of God's power, as long as he wasn't a demigod, he would still be able to predict the trajectory of the honorable being's fate. The Shaman Demon Sovereign raised his right hand slightly, causing the fate crystal ball to float up. A gentle 7-colored radiance radiated outwards, freezing time and space. At this moment, even a supreme being could forget about disturbing the Shaman Demon Sovereign. In the name of the Shaman Demon King, I shall calculate his fate. The gate of destiny open. From within the Shaman Demon Sovereign's body, a wave of essence chi floated out. This was the most primitive essence chi of a martial artist. Once the essence chi was depleted, it would mean the end of one's life. The primordial essence chi floated into the fate crystal ball. After that, the fate crystal ball started to rotate slowly. The 7-colored radiance flickered, and a series of blurry images appeared. These images were all about Yichen. At the start, they were images of Yichen's past. Especially the first image, it caused the Shaman Demon Sovereign to frown. Why could he only see the young Yichen? Why couldn't Yichen predict the future? The Shaman Demon Sovereign frowned. To predict the future, one had to be familiar with the other party's past. The Shaman Demon Sovereign didn't know how the fate crystal ball was created and what materials were used. But he knew that the power of the fate crystal ball had already enveloped Yichen. Someone is calculating my fate? Who is it? In the heavenly treasured palace, Yichen opened his eyes. After a moment of silence, Yichen closed his eyes again. Fate was too mysterious for words. Maybe only true gods could control their own fate. Or maybe true gods were just fishermen in the river of fate. They could see the fate of the fishes, but they couldn't see their own fate. Whoever wanted to calculate his fate, just let them be. Images appeared one after another. At the start, these images were still. Once they appeared, they would start to move. The Shaman Demon Sovereign's body became more and more stooped, but the light in his eyes grew brighter and brighter. Legendary rank supreme. Demigod. After calculating that Yichen could become a demigod, the Shaman Demon Sovereign shook his head. Indeed, back then he had relied on his own strength to calculate Yichen's fate. He had predicted that Yichen would become a legendary rank supreme, or even surpass it. But at that time, it was just a premonition. It wasn't as clear and certain as it was now. A new image appeared. This image was extremely primitive, as though it wasn't in the universe. In this image, Yichen was fighting against a group of demigods. In the end, all the demigods died. The final scene appeared. It was a scene of chaos. Nothing could be seen. Slowly, a pair of eyes appeared. What kind of eyes were those? He could see them, but he couldn't remember them. Suddenly, the Shaman Demon King was stunned. That was because a voice rang out. How dare you calculate my fate? That true God. The Shaman Demon Sovereign breathed his last breath and vanished into thin air. His death was too sudden. He couldn't even leave a message. The fate crystal ball shattered and everything disappeared. Only the pair of eyes didn't disappear. The pair of eyes grew bigger and bigger until they were as big as the universe. However, No one could feel the existence of the eyes until they disappeared into the chaos. Crackle! Black lightning struck down from the shaman demon planet. The power of these black lightning bolts was extremely strong. It was comparable to the destructive lightning bolts that struck the puppet True God's will in hell. This wasn't the wrath of the heavens. The wrath of the heavens didn't appear in the form of lightning. If the shaman demon sovereign was still alive, he would know why the black lightning bolts appeared. Unfortunately, he was already dead. The complete disappearance of the shaman demon planet shook the demon realm. One had to know that in history, a rank 9 life planet had never disappeared for no reason. Even a demigod couldn't destroy a rank 9 life planet. In the heavenly palace, Yichen opened his eyes again. He saw a familiar pair of eyes, but he couldn't remember what they looked like. Did you hear? The shaman demon planet suddenly disappeared. What's going on? The shaman demon planet is a rank 9 life planet? I don't know either. Maybe the existence of the shaman demon planet violated a taboo. It's good that it disappeared. Who knows how many geniuses of the human race died because of the shaman demon clan's divination? Yes, the disappearance of the shaman demon planet is equivalent to digging out one of the demon's eyes. It's a good thing. In the 9 Revolution Stars Supreme Pavilion, a few Supremes had already heard the news. But fate has finally started to favor the human race. In the True Martial continent, the True Martial Supremes and the Golden Buddha Supremes were drinking and laughing. In the dark chaos. Damn Sword God, he actually destroyed the shaman demon clan. Just you wait that you're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.